fathom the thus come one's true and actual principles. 无上甚深微妙法，百千万劫难遭遇，我今见闻得受持，愿解如来真实义。All Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, Great Master Qingliang, Great Master Shenhua, all good monks and nuns, and all good known advisors, 阿弥陀佛。诸佛菩萨、金良大士、师父上人、各位出家人、各位上师师，阿弥陀佛。Chư Phật Bồ Tát, kính thưa Thanh Nương Lại Sư, Thượng Thiên Hóa, quý thầy cô và quý vị thiện sư tất cả Di Đà Phật. Hello everyone, today is the 25th, I think, of August 2024. We're here at DTT to continue discussing the first chapter of the Avatamsaka Sutra. Thank you for joining us. It's a chapter on the world rulers, meaning it's an introduction to the who's who of the universe. So the Buddha immediately opened this king of sutras in Buddhism, which is the most important sutra in Buddhism, by exposing us to the reality of the universe. It's how big it is. So what it means, world rulers, is that a world here refers to the Sa world, if you will, our world, our galaxy, and the universe has an infinite number of galaxies, and each galaxy is so huge it has many small worlds. Okay. And so that's why there are many, and so each world ruler here is actually rules over this one particular type of heavens, okay, in a galaxy, okay. And so they're really big shots. So the scale of significance is that it's so much bigger. All we know for the human realm is nowadays is presidents and emperors and so forth. But this world ruler actually rules over the entire world. Okay, they're humongous. They wield so much influence, okay, so much power. And we're nearing the end of the description of the world rulers of the second desire heaven. Our human realm here is where humans live, and then there's 6 desire heavens on top of us. So so far we went through desire heaven number 6, number 5, number 4, number 3 is number 2. We're near the end, number 2. Number 2 of significance for us, since some of you are new to us, is the heavens where the Christian God rules. Okay, Christian God turns out to be one of the world rulers. He's that influential. Okay, so the Avatamsaka Sutra mentions him frequently because he's actually not simply a celestial king, but actually is a Mahasattva who chose to come to our world as a lowly celestial king, world ruler, if you will. Okay, but don't worry, the Mahasattva really keep themselves busy. This is not the only thing they do. They wear multiple hats. Okay, so rest assured that they are well challenged. Yeah. All right. And so we are on slide 697. Okay, again, for this particular kind of information, it's meant for you just to listen and don't try to understand too much. If something bothers you, feel free to ask, okay? And we try to relate it, the information, to in a way that will help you understand. But the most important thing about the sutra, believe it or not, is not for you to understand, but for you just to listen. When you listen, the information goes through your ear organ and plants its vajra seed. Vajra is the best quality seed of wisdom you're going to have, you're going to be able to do. Okay, so in Buddhism, this is one of the best ways to accrue vajra seeds or plant blessings for you to be able to reap the rewards in the future. Okay, so the best way, the best seeds possible you can produce, as I just said, don't try to understand. Okay, even when the Buddha explained the sutra, originally the audience was the bodhisattvas. They themselves didn't understand either. Okay, but the Buddha felt that they still had to listen to the sutra and planted the seeds, even for bodhisattvas. So much is the case for us. Just be grateful that we have a chance to plant these superior seeds. All right? All right, 697, the commentary is from the verse from one of the celestial king, called Celestial King Proper Mindfulness. The previous is in groups of four, gatha of four, a verse in 4 lines. The first 2 lines, the Buddhas appear throughout the 10 directions. This is what Buddhas do. Their domain, their reach is the entire universe. 10 directions here signifies that it's everywhere. All sorts of directions, all sorts of dimensions. Everywhere, pervading all worlds. So it says here, he goes everywhere and pervading all world. Remember, world is a galaxy, if you will, right here. World here is a galaxy. So world ruler, as a title of this chapter 1, means that he rules over a galaxy. Okay, he rules over all the second desire heavens of the galaxies. Okay, and so the Buddha would go anywhere, everywhere. Okay, and then what do Buddhas do? This is the state of Buddhas. Again, don't try to understand. Just say, oh wow, this is different kind of world. Observing the minds of sentient beings and manifest to tame them. Okay, and last time, you talk about how the Buddhas, in order to help us, they need to understand our minds. What does understanding our minds mean? And they need to understand what's important to us, what motivates us to do things. All right? So that's why observing the minds of sentient beings. Actually, observing here is sort of like for our sake, but it refers to the fact that what they do is guan here. Guan in Chinese here says that they are in samadhi, they're meditating or doing chan, and then they decided that they needed to help. The time is ripe to help someone. Okay, a group of sentient beings. Sentient beings refers to the living beings. Living beings, sentient beings are the beings who are sentient, who have feelings. Okay, that's why they're sentient. As compared to the insentient beings, which have no feelings. Okay, what are things that have no feelings? Rocks, wood, plastic. Boys, some boys have no feelings. Okay, and so he observed. See, because the purpose of Buddhas is really when you become a sentient being, whether you are a human being or you are a cat or you are an ant, believe it or not, Buddhas also pay attention to you. They don't simply try to help human beings. They help all beings. How is it possible? Because in the past, you listened to this Avatamsaka Sutra, and that's why you planted these Vajra seeds already. Okay? And you got lost as you wander through the wheel of reincarnation, and now maybe you fall into the state of the animal realm. Maybe you are let me see. Let me look at someone and say, now you're a deer. Okay? And so, but even though deers, those sentient beings, they are temporarily a deer, okay, because they revolve in a wheel, but eventually they will change bodies. And that's why the seeds you're planting are very, very important. They can mature any day. And when these seeds mature, Buddhas, when they'll be ready, he will be observing us, okay, all of us. And this is what Buddhas do. They look all of us, okay, at the same time. That's the state of Buddha. We need to look at one person at a time. So, I like her. No, I don't like her. No, not that one. Okay. But Buddhas look at, boom, everyone, all living beings. And they manifest to tame them. And because we have credit with the Buddha, or the Buddhist terminology, we have conditions with the Buddha, meaning we made an offering to the Buddhas before. So they owe us, okay? And now they have to pay us back. Yeah, it's really unglamorous. Buddhas really owe a lot of people. It makes you feel better? Why do you think you're here? This teaching here is for those who have a lot of blessings. And you cannot, if you don't have enough blessings, you'll be bounced out. This turns you off immediately. You say, no, this is not for me. Case in point, okay? Case in point, Hinayana people. Hinayana people have a lot of blessings of Buddhism, but they don't have Mahayana blessings. They will be turned off by this. They say, no, this is heresy. This is deviant knowledge. Even within the Arhats, Parateka Buddhas, they would denounce us as well. That's how severe it is. So that's why, as long as you're here for the next few, we've been here already for a while, don't reject it, just in case. I'm not pulling your leg, okay? Those seats, okay? They will be very handy for you in the future. So when those seeds you have mature, and that's what the Buddha observed, they say, wow, these minds of these beings are ready. Okay? They observe the minds of sentient beings, and they realize it's ripe now. It's time to help them. So what does it mean? The minds of living beings are ready. They're receptive. They're willing to listen. Okay? And that's why it's very important for you to keep this in mind. We're not talking about Buddhism, we're talking about life in general. If you want to help someone, do you have the habit of going over and tell your husband, honey, I'm gonna have to ask you to do this for me? You can't. You have to wait until he's receptive. Yeah, right? No? I'm reminding her. This woman here keeps on butting heads with her husband. The poor guy is an externalist. And her kung fu is higher than his. So when the butt heads, who gets hurt? Jung gets hurt. Okay, and so they need to observe. See, this part of the teaching. Buddha's job is to teach us. And they don't waste time. Buddhas don't come to us before we're ready to listen. Same thing. We need, okay? Don't force yourself and your beliefs on your poor husband. Let him recite his Phà Luân Cung stuff. There's nothing wrong with it, okay? You plant blessings until you wait, until the Vajra seeds mature. Then you say, honey. Okay, that's why Buddhas need to observe us. They don't do anything, they observe us. It looks like they're doing nothing. Like Master Z here, you look at him, he's like, he's probably observing us. Yes, you too. And now you're awake, right? I was asleep too. I was sleepy too myself. Now I'm fully awake. Yes, Sister Victorina.
Thank you, Master.
You know,
you remembered my name.
You are Filipina, yeah? Authentic?
Both my parents.
Okay. But you only speak English.
You're pretty much right there, yeah.
Okay. Go ahead, sister.
A little Tagalog, but not anything to talk about. We have a question here from Zihong. Observing the minds of sentient beings in this verse, the first character can also be translated as contemplating.
Yes.
Master, why is it translated as observing in this verse? Thank you.
These Chinese, they know too much. You can't get anything past them. Guan Chinese means to contemplate. Observing is worldly. The Buddhists, especially the Bodhisattvas and Buddhas, do not observe. What's the difference between observing and contemplating? I brought this up last night during one of my meetings, but none of you were there. So what's the difference between observing and contemplating? Good question. Who asked? Zihong? Okay. Go ahead, Chinese person. 3.
Contemplating is using your mind in samadhi, and observing is using your sense. Is using your right.
You're no fun. At least pretend, to wait for someone first before. You don't want to fight to be first to give the right answer. Okay, that's when you want to fight to be last. And you first already, that's why you want to be last. Okay? Absolutely. Anyone would like to give me another answer? Okay, that's correct. To observe, it's Buddhist is a worldly language. It means that you observe using your thinking mind. You look at someone and you observe them. You process it. You see the way she looks. She sits there means she's a little bit sleepy, skeptical. You see? And the way she looks at you, non-believer. You observe people. Your mind here. You go through mental processing. Yes, that's what observe means. Okay, and whereas contemplation, let me elaborate for you what contemplation really means. Contemplation is to use your wisdom to observe. When you observe, is you use your thinking mind. Because you register, you say, color of the shirt, posture, and so forth. You see, so you use your thinking mind to piece it together, okay, to process it. Whereas to contemplate is actually, bluntly speaking, okay, is to use your wisdom to observe instead of using your thinking mind to observe. Meaning, Meaning what? To use your wisdom to observe versus using your thinking mind to observe. You see, she gave me the exact Buddhist definition. I'm giving it to you using a worldly definition. Okay? So, this is what education means. I referred to this morning. Okay? Education is to teach people based on their interests, their inclinations, and their background. Education is supposed to be very flexible. It's not, my ancestors taught me this way, therefore I'm going to teach you the same way. No, you have to adapt. That's what education means. Agree or disagree? This morning I talked about my Chinese master said, my generation, one of our jobs is to take care of education. And I originally thought is setting up schools, universities, and so forth. But no, I finally realized education is to prepare you to better face the world, to better contribute to the world. Now Chung is thinking, I like this, she says. I like this. You're too obvious. You have a girlfriend? What does it have to do? Hey, it has everything to do with it. Boyfriend? Okay? So, to contemplate is to use your wisdom to observe. So what does it mean to use your wisdom? How do you use your wisdom to observe? You might want to know. Yeah? Tung, would you like to know? Yeah? Yeah. Yeah, okay. Very good. How do you do that? Yeah, you. One.
Master, I think we observe without thinking.
Observe without thinking. At least pretend not to know for a while. These guys are too much. You make it so easy. Make the newcomer say, "Oh, Buddhism is so easy." Master asks a question, everyone knows the answer. Why do I bother asking a question? Everyone knows the answer. Okay. Here's what happens. Let me paraphrase it for you. Interpret that for you, because some people are probably wondering. What you do, Guan here, contemplate here, refers to entering samadhi. And look. Do you agree, Master Z? You enter samadhi first. Okay? Don't worry about her. Enter samadhi, then. That's a difference. Worldly people, they look first, and they hope to enter samadhi. But the problem is, as soon as they start looking, they say, wow, ooh, lots of Botox. You see, the mind processes immediately. You understand the subtlety here? That's what he does constantly. Every time he looks at me, he disagrees with me. It's obvious he will never be able to enter samadhi. So what happened is that's why I taught you last night. You don't go like this. You always, as if you are high. I taught them yesterday how to look at people. I said, Ordinary people look at this. That's staring, yeah? And that's what that is observing means. Staring, observing, same thing. Observing is more polite. It's staring, basically. And sometimes you observe like this. Okay? But to do that is very, very offensive. I don't know about you. I went to Vietnamese restaurants recently to eat. And I feel observed because everyone's staring at me. What is he doing here? People don't realize it. It's how offensive it is. I feel like, yucky. I feel like taking a shower. So what happens is that you learn not to stare at people, not to be invasive, if you will, invade people's privacy, which is a big no-no here in the U.S. Okay, so what we do here is you simply enter samadhi, okay, and glance. That's how you look. If you have skills, you don't go like this. You only go like this when you want to offend someone. Okay? So the Chinese person is correct. One here is the Buddha. He actually, because it's written, because it's proclaimed by a celestial king, so his explanation is still a little bit off. Okay? Because Buddha don't actually contemplate even. He's talking about himself. He says, this is how I understand the Buddha at work. He contemplates living beings, and when he sees this living being, and then this person is ready to be helped, is ripe, the time is ripe, then he comes in front of them and teach them how to fix the problems. Okay? So far, so good. That's how this celestial king understands the workings of a Buddha. But actually, let me tell you, he's off between us. I'm no celestial king, so that's why I'm just opening a big mouth, so don't take it seriously. Okay? You know what Buddhas do? They don't actually contemplate at all. So for him to use the word contemplate is wrong. It's for him. Bodhisattvas contemplate. Buddhas don't. Shh. Don't tell the Bodhisattvas. He get very upset. Especially this guy, Celestial King, proper mindfulness, he gets very upset if you tell him that. Okay? So what happens? What do Buddha? What's the difference? This is what this guy would do. Celestial King, proper mindfulness here. He became enlightened to this process. That's what I do too. That's how I see the Buddha function. So what his guy does, when he says Buddha, the phrase above there, okay, is what he does. So himself, he said, I see how Buddha does things. Because that's how I became enlightened. Okay? But he's projecting himself, his wisdom on the Buddha. That's why he's a little bit off. Okay? So what he does, this guy does is that, for example, he wants to save the women here at DTT, present here today. He said, this side, no, this side, I like. It's called sales and marketing. Okay? So that's why they said, okay, I'm going to take care of this today, this group here today. So what he does then, he enters samadhi, contemplate boom, 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 and then he said, I'm going to have to save this person, the lady with the combination of white and black hair in the back. Okay? That's what he does. Is it clear to you? He's describing what he does himself, because that's all he sees the Buddha function, because that's as much as he can understand the state of a Buddha. But let me tell you, he's off, because Buddhas, they don't actually, after eating lunch, decide to save this group and not that group. It's still discrimination. Okay? That's why he does not contemplate. Is that clear? The contemplation here, okay, implicitly conveys the idea of choosing. Agree or disagree? I'm only using my intellect to criticize this guy. When you contemplate, it's because you selectively are choosing. That's what he does. That's why he's only a celestial king. He says, I want to save, like Hinan Sunim, I want to save only Koreans. Yes, Chinese person. 3.
Thank you, Master. If I understood this correctly, I thought they're waiting for the living beings to be ready at the right timing. It's not the Mahasawa only wants to save a group versus the other. It's right timing, right?
You're slurring and you're not making sense.
Okay, let me try again. I think the selection here is based on the timing and the appropriate conditions, not really preferring one group over the other. Is that correct?
No, let me finish my point.
Sorry.
Okay? There's no selectively say, I contemplate. Okay? And in order to contemplate, I need to enter samadhi. But Buddhas are always in samadhi. So to say that they contemplate, it's not necessary. Is that clear? That's a subtlety that this guy, Celestial King, proper mindfulness, is a little bit off because he projects himself on the Buddha. Here's what Buddhas do. I imagine Buddhas are always in samadhi, and without contemplation, he would save you, save that, save that. That's what they do, without any contemplation. Is that clear? This is what he does. Because it says here, says to King, proper mindfulness, enlightened to this path. That's what he does. He says, now that I'm enlightened, I need to save, like Sinan Sinim says, I need to save Koreans. So she goes to Korea and saves only Koreans. Not true? There are no foreigners in Korea. Some friends. Okay, got that? You understand? You agree with me? That logically, I see contradiction, because to contemplate, to observe, okay, is selectively. Buddhas don't select. In principle, Buddhas don't select. It's this guy selects. All right? So when he sees someone ready, and he sees this person here is ready to listen to him. Some people, when they are anti-vax, forget it. Doesn't matter how long it takes. They're not going to listen to you about getting vaccinated. It's life, okay? So he says, last week we talked about love and desire, that there's some people who have very heavy in love and desire, okay? And then the Buddha comes and teach them the contemplation of impurity. We discussed it extensively the last time. Yeah? Still remember? You don't? Well, we'll go back to last week's lecture and look at it. And for the living beings who are prone to anger, okay, he will teach them the contemplation of compassion. What does it mean, contemplation of compassion? When you are a very angry person, the only antidote, according to the Buddha, the best antidote is compassion. Why is compassion an antidote to anger, to hatred? I wish my ex-wife was taught this, then we wouldn't be divorced. I would still be happy out there. Very happy. Yeah? Okay. So why is compassion an antidote to anger, to hatred? Yes, Wei Mountain.
Master, I was just going to ask if you can channel hatred and anger into vigor.
Anger into vigor. Yes, absolutely. But that would not fix the anger. You're just more angry. Sometimes. Yeah?
Yeah.
Thank you. Next. Why is compassion an antidote to anger? If you're prone to anger, okay? Go ahead. 2.
It's pretty obvious, I think. Your anger causes you to be mean to people and to harm them. It causes you to actively harm people. And compassion is the exact opposite of that.
You're moving your eyes again.
Yeah.
Stop it.
You make me nervous, Master.
The silence makes you nervous? Your hair distracts me.
I'll cut it off.
I'm curious, do girls still find long hair attractive?
Master, we're supposed to contemplate impurity, not my long hair.
Okay, touche. Not that funny. Okay, wrong answer. Anyone else? Yes, no.
Dạ thưa thầy, mình quán từ bi là mình hiểu người ta, hiểu cái tâm trạng của người ta lúc mà người ta làm cho mình giận á, cho nên mình sẽ không còn giận nữa khi mà mình hiểu được cái tâm trạng và cái gì đó sâu ở trong. Dạ.
Hello, Master. So we contemplate the compassion that we understand the mind of the person who's getting angry, cause us to be angry at that time, then we actually understand why they're doing so. We understand the mind, then we no longer become angry because we understand deep inside what's going on.
Not quite there yet. Anyone else? Why is compassion antidote? Two.
Master, it seems to me that to have the compassion, you kind of also have to understand what the other person is feeling. And so maybe when understanding what somebody else feels, it's harder to be angry at them.
Not quite. You too.
Thank you, Master. Diego says, Amitofo, Master. Because with compassion, we understand that the others are suffering, and that's why they're acting the way they are. And compassion helps us to stop adding more fuel to the fire.
Okay. All right. I'm glad he waited until you all said something. That's what I explained earlier. Yes, go for it. Is there anyone to go for it?
Amitofo, Master. I'm here.
Oh, hello there.
I think Mahayana, that we follow the Bodhisattva's path, that we want to be enlightened and save all living beings. So you're angry at the living being that you take distance away from them, or you kind of burn bridges. You make a disconnection to living being. So it's opposite with the path we go in. So we should do the compassion that you have the opportunity to connect with them. So in order to save them.
Does it make sense to you? I'm going to hate myself for doing this. Okay? Should I or shouldn't I? I should? Then, for example, if you're angry, would you ask for separation?
No, it's not, I'm not angry. It's the way I think it's best. Sometimes when you understand things, then that best way is like that. Yeah. But regularly, you should not be angry, because that you make like you make the disconnection with a person. So it's.
I don't understand that. I'll never be able to understand that. Guess way mountain.
Hello, Master. I just have a question.
Sure.
Is that does this Dharma only apply for the people who cultivate Bodhisattva way, or can it be applied for regular people as an antidote?
Good point. Good point. Okay? Maybe only for Vietnamese people. Only. Okay, let me explain to you. You there. Well, let me massage and paraphrase them so and combine all your good answers into one. When you're angry at someone, okay? When you think about it deeply, you're angry at someone because that person is really doing something that really hurtful. Yes? Stupid, hurtful, and so forth. Yes? Okay? Take a step back. You take a step back instead of reacting immediately. You look, you observe, you contemplate. This is when you observe and contemplate, okay? And you see that the reason they're making you angry is because they are suffering. I'm asking you to withhold judgment and condemn people when they make you angry. If someone makes you angry, take a step back. Instead of retaliating, you take a step back and say, you look at this person long enough, well enough, you realize this person is actually suffering a lot. That's why they're making you angry. That's what bodhisattvas can see. A kid beats you out of anger, beats his mom out of anger because he's suffering. Case in point. Agree? You only see the anger of the kid. Actually, you fail to see deeper below the surface. It's actually he's suffering. If you see that, then you can easily dissolve your anger towards your kid. If you only see the kid as beating you as something that is improper, that is violent, that is nonsensical, then you cannot help. But if you can look at your kid throwing a tantrum, okay? If you're able to see that as he's suffering, maybe he's a manic, maybe he's been hurt at school, he's been repressed, bullied at school. Now he goes home, he lets it out on you. Okay? If you see that suffering there, you won't get angry at all. You will be able to resolve your anger very, very easily. Agree or disagree? Yes, JMT.
네, 부사장.
들리세요?
Yes, go ahead.
마스터 말씀하신 대로 그 화나는 부분에 대해서 제가 제 자신을 돌아봤더니 일단 첫째 분별하는 게 화를 키우는 것 중에 이유가 하나가도 되고 또 제가 일에 차질이 됐을 때 화를 좀 많이 내더라고요. 그러니까 사람이 싫은 게 아니라 일이 잘못된 게 싫은 거거든요. 일단 여기까지 끊을게요.
Before you translate, she's complaining about her husband.
공명.
She's angry at her husband.
전에 남편에 대해 지금 불평하구나. 남편에게 화가 났다.
Go ahead, translate.
So I looked back at myself and I saw that my discrimination actually grows my anger. And when I am angry, actually I'm not mad at that person. It's because my work went wrong.
안 되는 질문하는 포인트는 뭐냐면 이제 물론 뭐 이렇게 그러니까 상대방의 고통이 있는 건 알겠는데 그 상대방이 고통스러운 원인이 제가 아닌데 제가 감정의 쓰레기통이 아닌데 자기가 번뇌롭다고 번뇌를 이게 투사하는 게 아직 받아들여지지 않거든요. 네.
My point is I can see their suffering and I know why they're suffering, but I'm not their garbage can. So I cannot accept them throwing their anger at me.
그러니까 지금 제 단계에서 상대방이 고통받는 건 알겠는데 그게 제 문제는 아니니까 이런 상태에서 제가 자비심을 내려면 어떻게 해야 되는지가 제 질문이에요.
So in my level, I can see their suffering, but how can I be compassionate towards them?
Jumi ơi,
주미야,
you are a special case. For you, compassion doesn't work. Okay? It's okay, don't worry. Use whatever you can use to get rid of your anger. It works. Just don't get angry. My point here. Oh, yes, 7. Go ahead.
Dạ thưa thầy, cái trường hợp của con là con có thể thấy người ta đau khổ nhưng mà lại sinh cái tâm coi thường và thương hại người ta. Có nghĩa là con sẽ không có giận người ta nhưng mà sẽ thương hại chứ không phải là từ lòng từ bi, thì làm sao thầy?
Hello, Master. My case is that when I see people suffering, I look down on them and I feel pity for them. It's not the compassionate mind. So what does it mean, Master?
You are another exception. You too.
Thank you, Master. Veronica has a comment. She says, because anger comes from entitlement, but compassion comes from wisdom and kindness.
I like that better, yeah. Okay, here's the point, folks. It's not about theory. It's meant to, I want to explain this to you, spend time talking about this, because I want you to see this as something very practical. It's not like anger is compassion. It's how I learned. Very early on I learned, because I was very intrigued. I thought, if Buddhism has so much wisdom, how do I deal with greed? How I deal with anger? How do I deal with stupidity? Okay? And so I memorized this, if it's greed, then you contemplate impurity. If you're anger, you contemplate compassion. If you're stupid, then you contemplate cause and effect. Okay? And so that's what I memorized. But let me explain to you. Now I begin to understand why it's explained that way. Because it's reminding you that when you're angry, okay, when you're truly angry, it's because you're blaming someone. You're finding fault with someone. You feel that person is wrong. That person did you wrong. And therefore, you're justified in feeling angry, whether it's your son, whether it's your husband, whether it's your co-worker. All right? And you're right, because you're not wrong in that, yes, they provoked you, they mean to you, and so forth. You're totally not wrong most of the time. But how does it help you when you're right? That's the point. You're right, and you're still miserable. So what's the point in being right? On the other hand, if you're angry and you don't like that state of being angry, and you say, how do I fix this? Then one thing that happens to most of you is that now, yes, you blame that person, she's a bitch and that kind of thing, and so forth. And now you refrain from that response. You say, because that is leading me only to more suffering. Let's not go there. Okay? Being right is not worth it for me. It doesn't help me at all. But the antidote for Buddhism is a step back. Okay? Instead of blaming that person, look a little bit deeper and see what really drives him to make you so angry. That force there is based on his extreme suffering. That's Buddhist wisdom. You may not be able to do it. You say, okay, but I don't see how he's suffering. He's rich, He's successful. You know, he has everything I wanted. You know, how can he possibly be suffering? I should be suffering. Okay, and that doesn't help you either. So you look deeper and deeper, you contemplate, sit and meditate instead of acting on your anger. It doesn't help at all. Instead, refrain yourself. Meditate in your anger. Don't do anything. Okay? And when you meditate, you want to look at what is the nature of the suffering that this person has that made him do things that made me so angry. If you do that, chances are that you develop compassion because you see the suffering. All right? It's for your consideration. It may not work for you. For example, we found out the 2 exceptions. This thing will not work for them. Well, it's not for everyone. Buddhas are not perfect. Okay? Got that? That's the teaching point here. We cannot promise you nirvana. It may not work for some of you, okay? Only because you are not doing it right yet, that's all. I submit to you that you feel that all those people who say, it doesn't work for me. I says, maybe you haven't looked deeply enough yet. That's why you still can't see the suffering, and therefore you have no compassion for this person. Okay? Next one. If you are stupid, then the Buddhas teach them, they would manifest in front of these living beings and teach them about cause and effect, cause and conditions. Okay? Just memorize it. If you're stupid, try to see if they understand cause and conditions, cause and effect. Let me tell you, my personal case here at the temple doesn't work that often. Some people are stupid forever, it seems like. Sorry. I have this disciple who's been with me for over 10 years. I mean, teaching him. And every time I taught him, I have to offend him. Every time I offend him, he resented me. So, but he's scared of me, so he repressed the anger. And that's how he kept on making progress. I offended him, he's very angry. How dare you treat me like this? Huh? You yellow-faced person. He was thinking, short, yellow-faced person. Yeah. But then he's scared of me, so he represses it. And after meditation, he gets over it. Okay, and he improves. Okay, and then next time, next level, I beat him up again. So it turns out the resentment built up over the years. So the anger only builds up. So you to the point where when you try to tell him, actually, people try to have him, actually, there's a reason for it. Too angry, too stupid to get it. Sometimes, in order to teach, you have to offend people. And sometimes, they don't forgive you. Forever. Okay? That's life. Win some, lose some. Okay, so for stupid people, the Buddha's remedy is to teach them about cause and effect. Okay, you don't understand. Okay, because you haven't thought about what caused this problem. Okay, if you understand the real cause of this problem, okay, then you won't blame me as much. You can move on. Okay, for all that time, I never bother explaining to him why I offended him. 10 years, I offended him. I never bother explaining to him, I had to offend you in order for you to improve. Yes, K-YouTube.
네, 수암매화라고 하는 분의 질문입니다. 삼성각에 모셔져 있는 독성님이 실은 지공대사님이라는 이야기가 있더라고요. 매일 가는 절인데 알고 인사드려야 될 것 같아 여쭙습니다. 이상입니다.
I heard that solitary enlightenment in the Three Spirits Shrine is actually Master Jikong. And I go to this temple every day, but I think I have to know who I'm saying hello to.
I'm sorry, the what? Solitarily enlightened?
Yeah, there's in Korea. There's in the temple. There's some building called usually it's called Three Spirits Shrine.
Three what?
Three Spirits Shrine.
Three Spirits Shine.
Shrine.
Shrine?
Yes.
Oh, I thought Three Spirits Shine is some sort of alcohol from the south.
Yeah.
They call it shine,
Shrine or
like some moonshine.
Yeah. Sometimes
Is South Carolina there, WMT? Never mind. Go ahead. Three Spirit Shrine.
Sometimes we call it Mountain Spirit Shrine too.
Okay.
And then we serve solitary enlightenment there, which is Prateka Buddha.
Yeah.
And then this person heard somewhere that solitary enlightenment is actually Master Jikong.
Jikong, the same Chinese monk, Taiwanese monk?
I think so.
Who's dead already?
Gong Daxu.
Pure Land?
I think.
Are we talking about the same person? No?
Qigong.
Oh, Zhigong.
Zhikong. No, I think it's
The one that has the hands are like they have talons. Is that the monk we're talking about? Because Jingkung is not, is lower than Prateka Buddha. Jingkung, the monk who died already, who teaches Pure Land, is lower, much lower. He's 3A. You better get the name right for me, okay? All right, Wei Mao. We can come back to it later.
Dạ, kính thưa thầy, Chí Công Hòa Thượng không biết là đúng không, là Chí Công Hòa Thượng là hồi đời của vua Lương Võ Đế á thầy. Dạ, là Hòa Thượng Chí Công, là con coi trong mấy quyển kinh thì nói là ngài ngày xưa là quá thân của Bồ Tát Quan Âm, nhưng mà không biết như thế nào thì đó là như vậy đó. Dạ, hồi đời đó ngài làm giống như là quốc sư ở trong triều của vua Lương Võ Đế á, thầy. Dạ, dạ, ngài là một cái vị hòa thượng chân tu, dạ, như là Phật, dạ.
Yeah, she's referring to in Vietnamese Zhi Gong. That's the one I'm referring to as well. Very well-known Chinese monk. Master Xunhua said he's a fourth-stage Rahat. I don't know. Okay, if Master Xunhua says so, it must be the case. But then Master Hsuan, he talked of fourth stage Arhat, it could be a bodhisattva too. So it's that range of enlightened beings. And Master Chukung is very, very famous and very influential, very revered monk in the history of Chinese Buddhism. So what is the question about? Suppose the question is about him.
Is he the Pratyeka Buddha we serve in Three Spirits Shrine?
We don't know. I don't know because I've never been to that moonshine place. But you can rest assured that Master Chukung, the Chinese monk we just talked about, to me he sounds like a bodhisattva. So he's much higher than Pratyeka Buddha. Much higher. All right? JMT.
마스터 지금 방금 나온 지공 나온 무학 3대 화상은 마스터께서 방문하신 적이 있는 송강사 독성각에 모셔진 세 분의 스님이시거든요. 네.
This Chikung Dashi, this person just asked, is actually he's in Songgwangsa. He's dead already, but in Songgwangsa, there in the Three Spirits Shrine, there's a Chikung Dashi. So maybe Korean s님.
그러니까 그 그러니까 송광사의 응징전이라는 전각이 있는데 거기에 송광사가 승보종찰이 됐던 게 16국사가 있고 이 세 분이 모셔져 있기 때문에 일단 뭐 동명이인이 있을 수는 있지만 참고로 독성각에 모셔진 걸로 알아서 저는 벽지불이라고 생각하고 있었습니다. 참고로. 네.
So because 송광사 is one of the I don't know. Yeah, I have to check who's asking, and I will come back.
Okay. All right, but my gut feeling is Chukung, that Chinese monk here, is most likely a bodhisattva. The stories about him and his behavior and his teaching, to me, has a lot of profound wisdom. And he's very, very low-key. And furthermore, he really cared for his students. Arhat usually don't have that kind of soft heart. Like a girl kind of thing. They care. He really cared for his disciples. The Arhats and that I met, they don't have that deep sense of caring for people. Okay, from the stories that I heard about Master Chukung and so forth, it showed me that he really has such a good-hearted person. Not just a good person, a good-hearted person. He really cares for you. Okay. All right. Anyone else? Yes, 6.
Amitabha Master. So for the people that's angry at you because you pissed them off for some reason, is there a way for them to contemplate your suffering so that their anger can be dissipate?
Good question. No. Okay. They don't have the tools you do. So in that case, okay, and you have to show compassion for them. Suffer more. Okay? And it's a very good question. Suppose you're on the other side, okay? And you can extinguish yours with compassion, but it's someone else. So what you do then, okay, in that case is you choose to suffer more. instead of blaming them or fighting their suffering, okay, and defending yourself, you let them. Okay? Let them vent their anger, okay? More and more and more and more. That's how you help. Because the anger is a form of release. And just like the EVs, they can only release so much and the battery runs out. Okay? Have you seen a new Tesla? Still ugly as. So, never mind. So that's why this is one of the things that I'm glad you asked the question, because you always think, people usually ask about, so someone is, I need to contemplate, use compassion to counter anger, okay? But actually, this is why you cultivate. You cultivate because you can take a beating. They're weak, they cannot take a beating. So instead, you take a beating for them. They're weak, therefore they need to vent the anger at you. They're suffering too much. They can't take it, they're going crazy. Okay? So you know that. You know that they're suffering. So you stand there, you stand your ground, let them beat up on you. Because you can recover. If you didn't, they have to vent on someone else, their wives, their children. You see? Oh, I haven't taught you how to help them accelerate the release. Never mind. It's a different day. All right. Anyone else? Okay. Next, 698. Wide, enormous eyes on the dust come one's wisdom body, see all the motes of dust in all worlds without exception.
如来智深广大眼，世界为尘无不见。
699. For ordinary people, they look at this text and say, God, you guys are really a cult. Wide, enormous eyes, okay, and can see all the motes of dust, it's tiny, tiny dust in the world. And all of them, it's huge eyes can see these tiny, tiniest pieces of dust. Everywhere in the world, you guys are crazy. Okay? We really are cults. And we can't blame them. You really are stupid. I mean, not normal to sit through this. However, you're able to sit through this and don't blame them. Okay? It's because you've been prepped. He's referring to the Buddha's Dharma body. Okay? So it's kind of funny that refers to the Buddha has three bodies. One is Dharma body, reward body, and transformation body. So Shakyamuni Buddha is a transformation body. Okay? But there's another body, the true body is a Dharma body, and that's that one here. Okay? So he's referred to these enormous eyes, can see everything in the world. That's definitely referring to the Dharma body, because the Dharma body is the entire world. That's how big it is. Any problems with that? Okay? It's a little bit funny that the celestial king have to express it this way. That huge eyes can see the tiniest things. That's next 2 lines of verses. Universally pervading 10 directions, this is liberation of God cloud sound.
如是普遍于十方，此云阴天之解脱。
Okay, so it says these great eyes of the dust of the Buddha, wisdom body, can see all the motes of dust in the world, and it's everywhere in 10 directions. Okay, and that's what God cloud sound sees. Okay, so you see, again, I'm beginning to see how funny it is that at the second desire heaven level, these people are a little bit coarse. Their views, their understanding, a little bit kind of coarse. You know, they keep on talking big body and tiny things and contemplating stuff. You know, and Buddhas don't contemplate. Okay, only bodhisattvas contemplate. Buddhas don't contemplate in general. Okay. Anyway, moving on. We're making progress, believe it or not. This is the fourth slide for the day. The Bodhi practices of all disciples of the Buddha fully appear in the pores of the thus come one.
一切佛子菩提恨，如来悉现毛孔中。
703. Okay. What it's referring to is that look of it as like movie screens, probably IMAX theaters. See, he likes it. And look at it, envision that each bodhisattva disciples of the Buddha, how they go about their work, you know, in their lives. Look, for example, take Masteryonghhua's lifetime. He's a Mahasattva, so he's a disciple of Buddha. So his life story is projected on the screen. So far, so good. And this happens to a lot of screens because the Buddha has many, many, many Mahasattva disciples. One of them is Masteryonghua. Okay, so he does that. And you know, the funny thing that it's referring to is that screen right there, you can see everything, okay? But actually, it's like about the size of the pore of the Buddha. Okay? So it's the inconceivable state where the body of the Buddha, each pore here, contains all the workings, activities of the Bodhisattvas. Okay, isn't that cool? It's really inconceivable. That's all I want to stress for you. Don't get lost in details here about, you know, the commentary on Masteryonghua. I just want you, because when I read this a long time ago, 2-3 decades ago, I couldn't understand what it was about. Okay, and if I stick to this style of explanation, it will not help you either because it's way beyond us. You know, it's a pore contains all the stories of all the bodhisattvas. That's weird. Okay, but what it's meant to do is that big and small. Okay, big and small is that eventually in the later chapters you learn this concept. Okay, right now in our minds there is a discrimination between big and small. One hair pore is a tiny, tiny thing, and yet it contains the life stories of a bodhisattva. And each hair pore the Buddha has such type of information. Okay, that's really inconceivable. Big and small are not mutually obstructive at all. That's a concept. Okay, just listen to it and move on. Don't try to understand. Because I can't explain it to you because I don't understand either. Okay, let me finish. May I finish this next two things and we move on? In all the measureless perfection, Celestial King intentions perceive this with clarity.
如其无量皆具足，此念天王所明见。
And so the last slide for today, commentary slide. So this projection here of the life's work of each bodhisattva, of disciple of the Buddha, appearing on each hair pore of the Buddha. Okay, it appears perfectly, and that's what the Celestial King intention sees. It's real to him. It's not hallucination. Okay? It's not our state. Okay, we stop here today. Thank you, everyone.